Welcome to War Bios, the podcast where we delve into the lives of history's most fascinating military leaders and warriors. I'm your host, General Biography, and today we're going to explore the life of Leopold II of Belgium, a man whose name became synonymous with colonial ambition, strategic vision, and controversy. Born on April 9, 1835, in the Royal Palace of Brussels, Leopold II would grow up to become one of the most influential figures of his time, leaving an indelible mark on European history. As we journey through the early life of Leopold II, we find ourselves in the midst of 19th-century Belgium, a country navigating the complexities of nationalism and industrialization. The royal palace where Leopold was born stood as a testament to the country's rich history and its aspirations for greatness. The palace, with its grand halls, ornate furnishings, and meticulously manicured gardens, was a hub of royal activity, hosting lavish ceremonies, state visits, and diplomatic meetings. Leopold's family played a significant role in shaping his character and ambitions. His father, King Leopold I, was a shrewd diplomat and politician who had skillfully navigated the treacherous waters of European politics to establish Belgium as an independent nation. The king's experiences during the Napoleonic Wars had instilled in him a deep understanding of the importance of strategic alliances and military strength. These lessons would later influence Leopold II's own approach to international relations. Leopold's mother, Queen Louise Marie, was a member of the French royal family and brought with her a strong sense of nobility and duty. She was known for her charitable work and her dedication to the welfare of the Belgian people. The Queen's influence on Leopold's early life was profound, instilling in him a sense of responsibility and compassion that would serve him well in his future endeavors. As a young prince, Leopold received an education befitting his station. He studied history, politics, and languages, developing a particular interest in geography and exploration. The works of famous explorers like David Livingstone and Henry Morton Stanley sparked his imagination, fueling his ambitions for colonial expansion. Leopold's athletic abilities were also encouraged, with the young prince excelling in sports such as horse riding, fencing, and shooting. The historical context of Leopold's early years was marked by significant events that would shape his future path. The Industrial Revolution was transforming Europe, creating new opportunities for economic growth and colonial expansion. The scramble for Africa had begun, with European powers competing for territory and resources on the continent. Belgium, eager to establish itself as a major player on the world stage, saw an opportunity to expand its influence through colonization. As Leopold navigated his teenage years, he became increasingly fascinated with the idea of colonial expansion. He spent hours poring over maps, reading accounts of expeditions to Africa and Asia, and marveling at the bravery and cunning of explorers who had ventured into the unknown. The young prince saw himself as a future leader destined to leave his mark on the world stage. The seeds of Leopold's future greatness and controversy were sown in these formative years. His family, education, and surroundings all played a significant role in shaping his character and ambitions. Leopold's fascination with colonial expansion led him to establish the International African Association in 1876, an organization dedicated to exploring and civilizing the African continent. This endeavor was initially met with skepticism by European powers, but Leopold's perseverance and cunning eventually won them over. He presented his vision as a humanitarian endeavor, aiming to bring Christianity, education, and economic development to the people of Africa. As the International African Association gained momentum, Leopold set his sights on the Congo River Basin, a region rich in natural resources and strategic location. He dispatched explorers and missionaries to the area, who reported back with tales of untapped wealth and fertile land. Leopold saw an opportunity to establish a personal colony, one that would bring him wealth, power, and prestige. In 1885, Leopold convinced the European powers to recognize the Congo Free State as a sovereign entity with himself as its ruler. This move was a masterstroke of diplomacy, as it allowed Leopold to operate outside the constraints of traditional colonial rule. He established a system of private companies and concessions, which enabled him to extract resources and labor from the region without being bound by the usual rules of governance. Leopold's colonization of the Congo Free State was marked by brutality, exploitation, and tragedy. The indigenous population was subjected to forced labor, mass killings, and other forms of violence. The most notorious aspect of Leopold's regime was the practice of cutting off the hands of workers who failed to meet their rubber quotas. This horrific practice became a symbol of the atrocities committed in the Congo Free State. Despite the human costs, Leopold's colony was initially successful in terms of economic returns. The Congo Free State became one of the largest producers of rubber in the world, and Leopold's personal wealth grew exponentially. He used his newfound riches to build grand monuments and infrastructure projects in Belgium, cementing his legacy as a great leader. However, Leopold's reign was not without controversy. Critics began to speak out against the atrocities committed in the Congo Free State, and the international community started to take notice. In 1904, the British government published a report detailing the abuses in the Congo, which sparked widespread outrage. The scandal eventually led to the annexation of the Congo Free State by Belgium in 1908, bringing an end to Leopold's personal rule. Leopold's colonization of the Congo Free State was a complex and multifaceted phenomenon, driven by a mix of motivations, including economic gain, strategic ambition, and a desire for prestige. While his achievements were remarkable in terms of their scope and impact, they were also marked by unimaginable human suffering. As the international community began to take notice of the atrocities committed in the Congo Free State, Leopold found himself facing mounting criticism and pressure. The British government's report in 1904, detailing the abuses in the Congo, sparked widespread outrage, and Leopold's reputation began to suffer. Despite this, he remained defiant, insisting that his colonization efforts were humanitarian in nature and that the criticisms were unfounded. However, the scandal eventually took its toll, and in 1908, the Belgian government annexed the Congo Free State, bringing an end to Leopold's personal rule. This move was a significant blow to Leopold's prestige and power, and he became increasingly reclusive in his final years. He died on December 17, 1909, at the age of 74, leaving behind a legacy that would be debated and contested for generations to come. In the years following his death, Leopold's colonization of the Congo Free State was widely condemned as one of the most egregious examples of colonial brutality in history. The atrocities committed during his rule, including the forced labor, mass killings, and mutilations, were recognized as crimes against humanity, and his name became synonymous with exploitation and oppression. The country struggles with ongoing issues of poverty, inequality, and political instability, all of which can be traced back to the brutal and exploitative regime established by Leopold. Despite this, there are also efforts underway to come to terms with the past and to build a more just and equitable future for the people of the Congo. His story serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked power, greed, and ambition, and it highlights the importance of accountability and justice in preventing similar atrocities from occurring in the future. In conclusion, Leopold's later years were marked by controversy, criticism, and ultimately, his downfall. His legacy is complex and multifaceted, reflecting both the grandeur of his ambitions and the horrors of his actions. That's all for today's War Bios. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, I'm General Biography reminding you to keep marching toward victory.